When we cling to old hurts and wounds, we condemn ourselves to a life ruled by lower vibrations. And I guarantee, you're going to repeat those same situations. Different faces, different areas, same lessons. And you'll be like, man, I just went through this a year ago. Maybe you didn't learn the lesson a year ago. You have to look for patterns in your life. That's how you heal. You have to look for patterns in your life, and when you see things repeating themselves over and over and over again, that means what? You haven't gotten it. So then you have to do something a different way. What's the definition of insanity? Doing things the same way, expecting different results. There you go. Now, some of the lessons we experience are really kicker. They feel like they kick you in your teeth when you're down. And some of these people are the closest to us, but they bring us our most challenging lessons. Like I said, the beauty of all this is that as we master these lessons, our soul starts to radiate at a higher frequency of light. And because of the law of vibration, we don't have to return to experience that lesson again. That's what spiritual growth is. We're reminded by our spiritual teachers to let go of all hatred and anger, and to say thank you for the lessons and the opportunities that raise our soul's vibrational frequency into the light. For without such experiences and challenges to overcome, we would never be self-realized. So we have to love our opponent for making us the masters that we are today. That's a real hard concept to get. You have to love those who stomped on your foot. You have to love those who slapped you upside the head. You know, you have to love those who said, you're not worth anything. Because trust me, what doesn't kill you does what? Only makes you stronger. But there's a spiritual concept behind that. Because that means you progress on the spiritual path of your soul growth. Not for somebody else, your soul growth. We have to see our greatest opponents as our greatest friend and be glad they've been sent, that we have been sent such powerful teachers to help us to master this path of life. That's why the act of forgiveness is imperative for us to get. It's not about letting someone else get away with something. And I keep saying that because I want you to get that. It's not about letting someone else get away with something. It's about soul growth, soul progression. Tenet number 6. I affirm
soul growth as the purpose of life.
Soul growth as the purpose of life. Soul growth, soul progression, purpose of life. Understand it's not about the experience, it's how you handle it. Everyone at some time or another must walk this path of forgiveness, and we must learn to live the law. Because if you can talk it, but you can't walk it, guess what? You don't know it. Then you don't know it. The law of forgiveness is so important that Christ taught us that there is no hope of forgiveness for the unforgiving. Only as we forgive are we forgiven. It's let go. We must put forth that first effort. The way of our forgiveness is open through our willingness to forgive, to let it go. To let it go. The other thing you can say, 6 months from now, will it really matter? A year from now, will it really matter? We have people who've come to me in my life and say, well, you know, 3 years ago, you said such and such and so and so. I'm like, what are you talking about? You don't even remember it. So is it really important? You have to decide where it is as priority in your life. Is this really important? How can we ask more of the law than we're willing to extend to our fellow light workers? You're asking for forgiveness, asking for things to be let go, and you can't even let go of things for other light workers? Doesn't work like that. It's not a one-way street, people. Unless you can not only talk the talk and walk the walk, then you don't know what it's going to say. Cannot hope to gain the bigness of character that life requires of us as light workers. Bigness of character. I didn't say bigness of ego. Bigness of character is what we need as light workers. There are crucial things in life that calls forth great human qualities, and bigness of character is one of those qualities. A person who is great enough to forgive is always greater than the forgiven. They are greater than their adversary. Jesus tells us we must be able to forgive 70 times 7. That's 70 times 70 times 70 times 70 times 70 times 70 times 70. That's a big number. That's a big number. And if anybody multiplies that out, let me know what that is. But I know it's a big number. There's a lot of zeros. I want to know. Such a time frame is one that is indefinite. That's what that means. There's so many zeros, it's indefinite. It tells us there are no restrictions or limitations on how many times we are to forgive. God didn't give us a ticket when we were born and say, okay, you get 100 forgivens in there. You get 200 forgivens. Once you're done with that, you're all right. No. 70 times 7. And we can't forgive with strings attached. Oh my goodness. Well, I forgive you as such and such and so and so. If you do this, you do that, I'll forgive you. That's not what the principle says. That's not what it says. I see some laughs out there, some smiles. Y'all know who I'm talking to. The quality of forgiveness must be as limitless as faith, love, and hope. Forgiveness is the first requirement, which allows you to be in harmony with the law of being. Remember that forgiveness is nothing more than letting go. Letting go of past grievances, actions, and it is the important key to spiritual growth. Therein lies the power of forgiveness. It's about your spiritual growth, your spiritual path. Forgiveness is the key to transformation and emanates from the heart. Jesus the Christ was a master of forgiveness. And even though his teachings encompassed many subjects, forgiveness seemed always to be at the core of what he taught. The essence of his being comprehended the power of forgiveness, and he attempted to help people to understand that the importance of humanity as a whole achieving this state of reality. 2,000 years ago, he was trying to teach that lesson. And 2,000 years now, today's time, it's still imperative for us to get it. Forgiveness. And so it is. God bless.